It is October 9th, 2020. We're here in the backyard of the property for 6643 Aranda in La Jolla, California, 92037. So on the back of the house right here, right through this door is the master bedroom, and we have the master bathroom right on the other side of this wall. And right outside here we have a 4-inch ABS clean-out plug access that we've already taken off. So we're going to go into this newer ABS pipe. So this is not cast iron pipe here. Here's the T-junctions picking up this bathroom that's right here for the master bathroom. Here's the other T-junction picking up the toilet there for this master bathroom. And one more T-junction for the shower. And as we go forward here, we're going to have two more bathrooms that are actually side by side with each other essentially. So we have a hall bath and then another one around the corner from that through one of the rooms. So that's straight ahead. And then off to the left of the house is where we have the kitchen, and then farther to the left off of that is where the laundry is. So we're going to go ahead and try to put a camera through the laundry clean out behind the machine to then go ahead and enter into the kitchen and laundry pathway where it dumps into the main sewer. So you can see we have our junction right here. And right here we're going back into the cast iron, original cast iron. So for some part of the house that was all remodeled here, some was left cast iron under the slab here. This cast iron, as you can see right here, got a little bit of debris in our lens. It'll rinse off here in a second. So it's in good condition. There's a little bit of scaling deposits, but it's very, very minimal. You can see right here, this is a 4-inch T-junction. So this is what's picking up the toilets for the other bathrooms. A little 2-inch line there. Now we're going back into newer plastic. So just that one bathroom that wasn't dug up, that's got that little bit of cast iron, but it's got clean transitions from the front and back, and no issues with that. Now we're back into plastic piping. You can see here we have T-junction vertically right above there at the top of the screen on that. Slight turn on the line. So this is again all new plastic ABS pipe, 4-inch. Here's our T-junction right here. So we haven't found any sags or bellies, which are areas that would be holding water. That's one of the more common things you'll find when newer plastic gets put in with improper slope. Other than that, we're also looking for obviously any foreign debris or buildup that has accidentally been put down or is in the system. You typically won't find roots in newer plastic pipe like this. Continue to push out here. We're certainly in the front yard area now here going across. We do know that the city sidewalk has a newer property line cleanout that was installed with Greenbelt PVC pipe. Possibly a little sweep T-junction right there. It's hard to tell on the top of the screen. Doesn't look like it. Just a coupling there. So again, still no problems with any of the pipe anywhere. Okay, here we have our T-junction, which is essentially would have been the original property line cleanout, because this is typically several feet in front of the city sidewalk, and so this was redone right here. I don't know if it's brought to surface, but if we can't make this turn, we'll go and locate that and verify. Otherwise, we're going to push forward here. So this is going to become a vertical pipe essentially. And this is cast iron. So you can see there's a little bit of buildup on this vertical cast iron right here. That's kind of typical, and it actually kind of builds up on the sides of the walls right there. So there's the transition. There's just that little bit of mounding on the bottom of the screen you can see right there. If it ever needs to be, that can be chain knockered off, which is a snaking system that expands out with high RPM chains that have carbide tips to clean that up. Because it's on the vertical pipe, it's usually not going to cause any stoppages because gravity alone is just going to pull all that stuff down. And again, it's not blocking much of the pipe, but there is that little bit of buildup there, just in that one little spot at the overhang where it initially becomes that. That's typical how it kind of builds up on the wall there. So this is all original cast iron going vertically down here. Now we're making the 90 transition to become horizontal again. So right here we have roots intruding in the system. So you can see that there's our roots intruding. So in the original cast iron pipe in the front yard, it goes back into clay pipe before the city did their work. And so right here, the clay, the cast iron connection has roots intruding in the system. So we're going to go ahead and pull out our locating equipment to go ahead and locate to see where this is specifically at in relation to the sidewalk as well as the property line clean out that the city put in on their own. So we're going to pause the video. Okay, so here's all these roots. So we've just gone ahead and located this. So the pipe in the sidewalk is right at about 5.5 feet deep. And this pipe right here is about 6.5 feet deep because it's a step up when you leave the sidewalk to go to the property. There's a small brick retaining wall, and then you have the grass front yard, and that's a foot higher than the sidewalk itself. So we're basically right at about 80 inches deep, so right about 6.5 feet deep. We've got this marked with the flag in the front yard denoting this exact spot, and we'll show this once we're done with everything back here, and we're going to try to go through the laundry drain as well to show that. So you can see these roots right here need to be cleaned up. Right now they're blocking the top and a little bit of the right side of the line, so the line is still functional right now, but it is blocking a good 50% of the pipe almost from that whole top section and the right side, so definitely need to be cleaned up relatively soon, but in the meantime it's definitely, I'm going to keep working for a little bit until that's done, so it's not a problem. So we're going to see here if we can push past this little bit of an area here. We've made two 90s in a row, and as you can see on our digital counter, we're over 100 feet out. So it gets very hard to go beyond this point as far as being able to push through these two 90s, which create an S-curve essentially. So we could run some water. It might help us get by here, but it's highly unlikely. So what we're going to go ahead and do is, we have our other cameras. We're going to go ahead and move to the front yard and see if we take our other camera and try to get it to steer the opposite direction, if we can go ahead and see in backwards and reverse. Because as we look down this camera lens right here, and again from where we know the clean out is, which we'll show you in a moment, this pipe that we're looking down right now, it appears to be white in color after this red orange clay pipe that we're in right here. And we know in the sidewalk that's what they used, was the Greenbelt PVC pipe. It's white fittings and a green pipe. So it looks like the clay pipe is only basically has two little hub connections here, and that's about it, and then we go back to plastic. So we're going to go ahead and try to maneuver this in reverse with another camera. We're going to leave this camera in here right now so that we can go ahead and see that one as we try to look backwards. Okay, so we have our second camera here at the front yard. And so you can see right here, here is the clean out, the sewer lid that the city contractors put in. We have a new piece of sidewalk here. This was dug up. And then here's the retaining wall with the height differential. Right where you see this yellow disc, that's where we already have the flag put into there. This is the spot where the roots are at, underground at 80 inches deep essentially. So as we go down this vertical pipe here, which again, this pipe sweeps away from the house. It's not going to look back at the section we're trying to get to. As we come down this line right here, this is going to continue. So here's the T-junction, and see if we can kind of get this to look this way. So we can see just a little bit of debris that's fallen down the line. That's just some grass clippings and whatnot. As we sweep away, which we'll show right now, that's the T-junction that was installed for a property line clean out. And then this was originally clay pipe, and they coated it and lined it. So you can see on the top of the pipe, kind of looks almost like a strip or a band-aid effect. So they relined this clay. So rather than dig up all the streets and frontage areas, they just dig up only the city sidewalk here, put in this clean out, but before they backfill it, they go ahead and spray coat and reline this. So this protects the clay pipe, which probably had a lot more root intrusions, but they only do it from the sidewalk out. So that little bit of clay pipe that's literally just a foot or two long from here back across the front yard going away, back towards the house, they don't touch their deal with that. And unfortunately, that was already still a susceptible area that probably even had roots growing in it from when this work was relined here. So you can see this is all clean pipe. And then coming up here, you can see the letters and numbers on this pipe. This is the new pipe they put in for the city right here. So this is the large pipe where all the other neighbors from the other houses drain back into and then out. So it's only, as you can see from the distance counter here, about 29 feet out till you get into the city. And you take away about 5-6 feet of that for the vertical, and that puts you right in the middle of the street or so where the manholes are and the rest of this line is. So obviously this line is completely fine because it's been relined and coated. So we're going to go ahead and pause the video while we pull back this camera. We're going to try to put some string on the line and try to see if we can get that to steer at the very bottom and kind of look back in the opposite direction just to show the other camera that's laying in there just for the heck of it. Okay, so we've got some string tied off. So essentially, as you're looking at this vertical pipe, we're going down here. To the right side is what comes from the house. The left is what goes away from the house, which we've already inspected. So we have some string on the end of the camera that we're going to try to see if it can make the camera kind of bend and look the opposite direction. But it's really hard at this depth of almost 5.5 feet to get it to steer. When it's closer, we can get it to maneuver like that, but farther down is a little tougher. So you can see all we're doing is kind of looking the upside direction. So we're going to pause the video while we try to remaneuver this, and then we'll show the image if we can get it. Okay, so we got it steered the opposite direction. So as you're seeing right there, we're looking back towards the house, where you can see in the middle of the screen is our other camera that's actually shining there with its little light. And then you can see the little bit of clay pipe, the orange-red pipe that this green pipe is connecting into, which again is back towards the house. So from that other thing, you can see, just like we thought, it's a very short section. We don't have any roots intruding heavily beyond that point. It looks like there might be a couple little tiny ones on the wall of this clay to green pipe we see right here. Very, very small at best. So we definitely know that it's just this little short connecting point that's in between the two right there. So that's the only really root intrusion right there. And we're now going to go ahead and move back to the original camera so that we can go ahead and locate the other clean out that needs to be brought to surface and exposed in the front yard. Okay, so now we're back to the original camera here, and we basically are looking at this heavy root intrusion that needs to be either cleaned up or repaired. We're now going to back up this line again. So now we're going to come back up this vertical cast iron 90 and pipe back up to the plastic pipe in the front yard, because we need to locate the clean out that was installed and is buried under the grass or dirt by a little bit. We just don't know. We'll see here. So there's the cast iron vertical, and this is the plastic turn on the T-fitting they put. And then we come back across, and you can see right there the pipe goes up. So that curvature is a clean out going vertically up. We just don't see it on the front lawn. So we're going to leave our pipe right to the edge of this as close as we can get without the camera hanging downward. Now we're going to go ahead and pause, and we're going to locate this and mark this in the front yard. Okay, so this clean out actually is brought to surface, so the grass just overgrew over the top of the little square lid for unscrewing this. So we moved all the grass back to expose the square clean out plug on top. You'd still have to remove some more grass and dirt to unscrew the entire 4-inch plug, but it is right there, so no full-on digging has to be done. So that's good news. And so basically, the cast iron pipe here, right after, again, this 90 that has that buildup right there on the side wall, that can be cleaned up. We would typically use a chain knocker system because that can rip all that out and will also rip out all the roots. So there's 3 options as far as the roots that we were seeing in this cast iron to clay junction that we just pulled back from. So one, it can just be maintained. Open up the clean out lid, all the roots are ripped out, and then there's a foaming chemical agent, a powder that we put down the line, and that basically will foam up, and you let that sit for about 6 hours or overnight. That kills the roots and keeps them from growing back in. It kills them away from the pipe as well for a couple feet underground. You'll have to do that at least once a year. So we usually recommend every 9 to 10 months. The manufacturer says you can do it just every 12 months. So that can be maintained. The only other options are, one, to go and literally dig up, replace all this cast iron pipe and the clay pipe, and put in all new plastic to solve the problem once and for all. But because of the depth and what you've got to dig up, it'd be a very expensive, big job. And so the other option would be to reline the pipe. So you would go into this cast iron, you have to rip it all up with, again, a chain knocking system that cleans up the cast iron and removes the buildup on there to get it full bore, rips the roots out, and then you can coat the pipe. So just like the other pipe was lined, they can do a liner or a spray coat liner to coat this vertical pipe and that first 90 with that few feet of horizontal across to seal that off from letting the roots grow back in. Also, actually, a pretty expensive process of several $1,000s, but that's the 3 options you have: lining repair, dig up repair, or just maintain the line. If you do the foaming agent, you probably shouldn't have to snake it out or clean it out ever again if it's done well. But if it's not, then you may just need to snake it once every 2 years, probably at the most. You probably wouldn't even need to snake it once a year. So we're now going to go ahead and leave this camera still in this plastic main sewer line here, even though we're all the way out. We're going to put our second camera in and go from the laundry clean out, which we just exposed. So we're leaving this push rod for this camera in there so we can see when we junction into the main sewer. Okay, so now inside the house, here's the kitchen, the garage, and here's our laundry machines right here. And behind the laundry machines, we have our 2-inch ABS clean out right here. We'll see if this stays plastic the whole way or if it converts to cast iron. So this is going to head across. We're now in the horizontal pipe here. See that laundry sludge right there, the soap scum and debris. It is still all ABS plastic, so it was replaced or modified. So this is all, again, 2-inch ABS plastic. Here we have a T-junction right here. That should be what's picking up our kitchen. And now we got a little turn on the line. And we have cast iron right here, actually. So this is still cast iron right here. We're going to go ahead and see if we go ahead and run some water through the kitchen, if that helps get the camera by this turn that's on the line itself. Okay, so the water just got turned on from the cold side of the kitchen faucet, so in a few seconds, there you go, there's the water coming in. Had a little bit of debris in our lens from just the kitchen debris. So here it's dropping into the system at this turn. So we've got a couple turns here, and the stiffness of this camera may not allow it to get through this turn even with the water reducing the friction. We'll see. If not, we have one other camera that we can put through here to try to help maneuver these tougher turns and this rougher cast iron pipe. So yeah, because this has got a sweeping turn in the cast iron pipe, this particular camera is not going to get through there. So we're going to pause the video again and swap out cameras to try to get through the rest of that cast iron pipe till it dumps into the main sewer. Okay, so we've got another camera. This is a smaller non-self-leveling camera. A little bit more flexible in the push rod, but because you lose the stiffness, you don't get the capability to move it through the line. So we'll see if we can get through, but again, this is what we need to try to maneuver past that point where there's some tough turns on the cast iron connection that is still original to the house there. So we know that the one bathroom on the front there still has original cast iron, and so they obviously also left, after they remodeled part of the kitchen line and all the laundry, it does still connect into original cast iron when it goes across the hallway leaving the kitchen to then go towards the bathroom where it's going to dump into the main sewer. So we're going to turn the cold water kitchen water on right now to clean off our lens, because you can see we've been dragging laundry detergent and sud debris. Okay, we've got the water running. We may have not actually gotten to the kitchen tie-in yet. It was out a good 20 some odd feet. Okay, there we go. Now we've got water running. It's cascading through here. So the kitchen is functional, and obviously the laundry is functional. There's people living here using everything. We just want to try to get through that cast iron if we can, just to make sure there's nothing odd going on. Unlikely under a slab house there would be, but because it is a slab house, we want to try to double check it if we can. There's just no guarantee we'll be able to get all the way out. So we're making some distance here. I'm not sure if we made all the transitions and turns. This line camera does not have a distance meter because it's kind of a unique one. So let's see where we're at here, if we can get this to clean off the lens and kind of drain out. Water's flowing by, you can see right there. I don't see our other camera push rod, but it looks like we're maybe in the bigger pipe, but I don't see evidence of that yet. But it does appear to be plastic there. Okay, so we just don't have a crystal clear view of the line when we get up to wherever it's a turn or just a junction. We're letting that water kind of clean off our lens and see if we can look down the pipe just slightly here. Eventually, obviously, we'll shut the water off and see what we see ahead of the camera from the spot where we can't push past. But it does appear that we're in plastic. This is as far as we're getting. There we go. Got through a little bit more distance. much. Okay, so there we've got some water churning and draining out. So we're going to go ahead and shut the kitchen water off so we can see where we're at in the pipe, and if we happen to see the other camera push rod, if we were able to get all the way into the other main. Let's see if we can just get a little bit more. Nope, that's about it. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and pause the video for a second while we wait for the water to subside once we shut it off. Okay, so you can see the water subsided. It does appear we're in plastic pipe. It looks like we're in the larger pipe. I don't see our other push rod because we probably just haven't gotten to the last little junction where it dumps in for a few more feet across. So what we're going to do right here is we're going to leave this recording and we're going to go flush the toilet from the bathroom that's across from the kitchen, and we'll see if water cascades by this point or if we're just short of that connection T-junction. Okay, so you can see no water ran by, so we didn't get to that one spot yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause the camera for a second, recording, and we're going to go ahead and locate to see how close we are. Okay, so you can see that this is all newer plastic pipe. We just located this, and this is actually in the dining area. So when you leave the kitchen, go into the hallway, make that quick left. There's the front door, of course, right there, but then it leads into the formal kind of dining room area. There is a big credenza right there with a bunch of flatware and crystalware, and that's where we're at, right in front of that. So we are literally just a couple feet away from where this dumps into the other part of the main sewer. So that's good that we got that distance out. So we're backing up on this line here. So you can see there's just normal kitchen food and debris. You can see it looks like a bunch of eggshells and other stuff right there. Yeah, and just a bunch of grease and other food. But this is all plastic, so they did dig up and replace this kitchen laundry line here with all plastic. It looks like when we come back up this turn, there's a sweep right there. Here's this little, 1 second, we apologize, we're pausing, we're just trying to get the debris off our push rod as we come back up here through the system. We're inside the house. So we're just getting this prepped. So as we come backwards here, there's a lot of buildup on this push rod as we're trying to yank it back out. Okay. So as we come back here, you see just normal, a lot of gunk from the use of things being pushed down the sink into disposal. But the line is open, clear, draining fine. It's all plastic here. Placed all this line under the slab. As we come back here, a few more feet. Here's this turn, and we're back out again. So everything is in good condition on the kitchen and laundry line, where there's nothing that needs to be cleaned or repaired or anything like that. Obviously, with normal usage, you're going to have localized stoppages where that's going to have to be cleaned up over time, and or even hydrojet if it gets a lot of food and grease built up. Sorry, we're just wiping off our lens here. So everything is in good shape on there. So basically, the only thing that's wrong with the system is the roots in the front yard that either need to be cleaned out and maintained, or basically cleaned up and then repaired with one of the two methods. So that concludes the recording for this property.